Hey, what it do, world? It's your man's and them, the Toothless Wonder, reporting again on the Bamboozled Again News Network. I just checked out a clip from Brother Epic Mindset, I guess about, New Breed and Ringo, right? Uh, I watch both content, but for various polar opposite different reasons, right? And as I said before in previous videos, like, even if, let's say, New Breed was wrong, right? I do have the ability to, extrapolate information, take the meat, spit out the bones. So I still find the man's, content applicable in today's time. And he's probably been one of three individuals um, who's been very instrumental along my journey, right? I still, I unsubscribe, but I still check out Ringo for the purpose of just categorizing almost like a social crocodile hunter, how far down the pit he's fallen, attempting to notice, certain signposts along his journey, and then apply to myself to make sure I'm not trending in the wrong direction, unbeknownst to myself. That's why I'm always checking myself or checking my ego. Cause like even, I was thinking about this last night about, my sobriety journey. And before I got the ball rolling this time, by grace of the Most High, 4 years and months. Previous to this, I couldn't get past 6 months, save my life. And looking back over it, I was on a path of relapse and didn't even know it. You know what I'm saying? Um, I'll attempt to be as fair and balanced as I can in my particular assessment of this. Um, and again, I try to be a man of wisdom and understanding. So sometimes I'll try to put myself in other people's shoes to try to understand what would make you do that, this, that, and the third. Even like I try to do it with things in my past. What was I thinking then? So I make sure I don't do it in the present moment in time. Um, as I've admitted, I'm probably slightly biased. Um, I'll say this: no man, like we all have our faults, shortcomings, and defects of character, right? I just attempt to be more transparent in mine. So if someone from my past were, I've talked about, my issues with my child's mother. So if she was to, make a YouTube video or whatever the case may be and be like, well, you didn't take care of your child for years. Yeah, I've admitted to that. Uh, I've told you that. I've said it on my personal YouTube channel. And not just that, the admitting part, I've taken tangible steps each and every day for that not to be the case in the present moment. So you can't really expose something that I've already admitted to. You see what I'm saying? Um, you put your hands on me. Yeah, I did that. And then I learned from it to make sure I don't deal with a woman where I'm even tempted to put myself in a situation where I think or lose control in order to do that. You see what I'm saying? Like I take personal responsibility for my conduct. But also with that being said, a man can only take but so much. So I made videos about, when it first kicked off and my, feelings and so on and so forth. Um, but I like to believe as spiritual as, I guess only one can gauge one's genuineness in anything that they do. I Man can only take but so much. And then I tend to look at situations how I would handle it. So, New Breed says whatever he says, cool, fun, and dandy. He makes a couple jokes on the more humorous tip. That probably been my route. Now I'm gonna leave it alone. 'Cause I got other stuff to do. You know what I'm saying? But and I'm just going for me, right? If I keep hearing it, like that one viral video, it was a little white dude. He said, but I got time today, cuz. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna have to get back with you. Is it right? I'm not sure. It depends on the individual, I guess. How would the Most High say it? I'm not exactly sure. Um, but again, and even in my time in the various streets, like I would try to pay stuff no mind, just to keep on keeping on, right? But eventually you gotta deal with it, and then you might flash or whatever the case may be. All right, they understand where I'm coming from. But then if they keep doing it, you might have to remind them. But at that point, you just see it's really no wins with it. You know what I'm saying? So the only thing you can do is either pay it no mind or turn it into a joke. Because in my humble opinion, as far as Genghis Khan, um, he's essentially become a joke. I don't find his content to be, it's very, what they call it, I just discovered this term, like a grifter. Like based on what he believes will get him views, he'll contradict himself from one video to the next, based on who he's pandering to or who he's attempting to, vilified. You know what I mean? It just, these folks are among us, and we gotta learn to deal with it effectively. You know what I'm saying? Now everybody can have their own opinion about, someone else's situation, how they handle it, the steps they take, so on and so forth. But it's easier said than done until you in the situation. You know what I mean? It's no different than, the sports announcer who says, oh, he should have drove to the lane. But if you was on the court, would you have done it? Do you have the skill set to do it? You know what I'm saying? So it's all just social media critique at the end of the day. I don't know what it means, you know what I'm saying? But again, I try to see a situation apply to myself so that if I'm ever in a similar situation, maybe I can learn from the next brother what he did do effectively, what he didn't do, and just apply it to myself. But I would like to believe if we have a certain spiritual disposition, for lack of a better word, we all probably got Ringos in our life. I got a couple of them, you know what I'm saying? And what I do is, I pay them no mind, but then periodically, I do like 50 Cent. Like he had the issue with Ja Rule, over 20 some years ago. But every now and again, out of nowhere, he'll just antagonize him for fun. Because he just, he despises him as a human being. And I'm kind of in that space, like with the old people at the old job. I routinely send messages through Facebook or third party just to let them know how much I despise them. Not because of what they did to me personally, but what I've seen them do to others who are coming to them for help. That's my issue. And I'm willing to take up the cause and have done so. As far as YouTube go, I done went triple platinum in the county I live in. I can't go nowhere now without somebody, oh, I seen your video. And not only have they seen it, they think I'm funny. And either they work there or quit, or they currently work there, or they work in another entity like the health department or social service. And they be like, you ain't lied about nothing. And I ain't been there in what? 8, 9 months? Still predicting what's going on now. They ain't changed nothing. So I'm going to keep giving it to them because I want to. And I check myself for the most high, like, am I being petty, or am I doing the right thing in the wrong spirit? You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, it's not about demonizing them so much. That's not my intent or motive. My intent and motive is to do something so they'll stop. They stop, I stop. That's it. That's all. But they seem ineffective, or they don't have the ability to do that. Even in the reference or referring to Genghis Khan, as I like to call him, and I've been kind of quote unquote predicted this, I don't think the man can stop. But I found it. That's the point I wanted to cover, though, right? Like for whatever reason, like my video I did earlier today, people feel comfortable telling me stuff, and I think that's a good attribute to have, where people feel comfortable being vulnerable with you, feeling like, one, you're not going to go tell somebody else, and two, you're not going to take advantage of me in my vulnerable state or go tell somebody else or shame me or XYZ. And I haven't, right? Okay, I put it on me. Let me flip it around. So I go to somebody and I say, I'm struggling. Let's say in my finances, right? Okay, cool. Like I'm having a hard time, I don't know, paying my bills, or, hey man, can I get $20 or something like that, right? And this the part that I feel like Genghis Khan has to be inhabited by another entity or another force is moving. Now, I know this person because I went to them for help, right? They know that I know they know the situation I'm in. Even if me and this individual have a slight misunderstanding, or even a super duper misunderstanding, in the engagement, if we're looking at this from a warfare standpoint, why would I then come out and attempt to expose the person helping me, knowing the person that's helped me knows all my dirt, or knows all the things I might not want the mass of public to know? You see what I'm saying? And even in reference to my daughter mother, like, or various people would try to be a hindrance. It's amazing to me, like, yo, and not that, I get around people and attempt to extrapolate information to put in my back pocket as a trump card for leverage purpose later on. You see what I'm saying? I just remember, or I just know stuff. But it's just, I know it. Like, I'm not going to use it. But then when you come attack me, it be having me bewildered, because I'm like, yo, I know all your dirt because you're the one told me. That reminds me of the Miles Mabley woman at the job. In an effort to defend herself, she basically lied about stuff She had told me, and I got the messages in my phone. So I had to remind her because my head almost exploded. She was like, I ain't do that. How you know? Da, da, da. I said, how I know? Yo, Mom's Mabley, you told me you did it. That's how I know. And then on top of it, what you don't know is the dude told me before you told me. But you're so fixated on either clearing up an image that you don't have because everybody know what you're hitting for. And I see that even with my daughter mother, where you're attempting to protect this image that don't exist because everybody know what you hit. I got a homeboy like that. He lies super bad. You know what I mean? Now, amongst mutual friends, like, we all laugh about it. But he come around us lying thinking we don't know. And then if we, like, ask him in a joking way about it, he'll just lie some more. I don't know if it's a cognitive dysfunction or maybe it's the root cause is spiritual. But I seen the bit where, Nubreed did the video. I couldn't check a lot of it out, but he was talking about, okay. And then here's another thing I see, right? Where, and I seen it's like okay, me, right? Where, like, I don't drink anymore, right? But then I down and demean people who are struggling with alcoholism. Instead of trying to help them or be empathetic, understanding, I'm point like, you ain't nothing. Cause 3.5 years ago, you were just doing the same thing. Now, how do you act like you the creme de la creme or whatever? I did it with you. Now you want to come to me because you done got free of it. Or in essence of, and I was saying this, right? And not knowing all the inside information. So I'm saying Genghis Khan, he kind of preaching this doctrine of, what a black man is and, playing rah-rah and woo-de-woo-de-woo. And it sound good. But upon further inspection, like basically and that might be the situation. Granted, kudos to him. I think he went about the wrong way. But he got out of it. He's in a better spot for him and his family, his children. Okay, cool. But you're saying it's like you wasn't just stuck in the project for 30 years under your woman lease. So where did all this new bravado come from? I had seen when they exposed Pastor Dow, I think he had made some derogatory comments about him still living in the slums in New York. I think that might have had a motivating factor. And I know this to be true. If somebody says something to you and it actually applies to you, it's going to offend you. Myself as well. I just have enough mindfulness to take the truthful statement, no matter how it was delivered, and add it to my repertoire to improve in said area. And I might not even like hearing it at the time. But once I, get by myself, like, yo, damn, cuz right, yo, I do need to work on that. Or I do need to try that. Or ooh. And if I actually take it without the personal feeling, I'll actually be in a better situation, yo. You know what I mean? But that's the part that I'm superly duperly blown away by. Is the fact that you're attempting to, like, it's almost like, okay, we in the streets, give a street analogy. I'm your right-hand man, your homeboy. I'm not really in the streets, but we grew up together. And you personally tell me all the dirt you do, crimes you've committed, da-da-da. And then you come out against me, like to make it seem like I'm a horrible person. And I'm scratching my neck. One, I thought you was my man's, and them. Two, why would you do that knowing I know what you told, and I have evidence that you're not who you're portraying yourself to be. But again, I believe, even in the case of my daughter mother, you're so fixated, and I said this before in another video about Genghis Khan, that he is so focused on whatever his objective is, that he can't see the doors he's opening up for him to be attacked. Or if he does take that into account, he don't care. Again, this cut your nose to spite your face. I don't even care how I look. I don't even care about my reputation. I'll just keep moving the goalpost. The only thing I care about is what my objective is towards you, Malcolm X, by any means necessary. You know what I'm saying? I remember one time I had a homeboy tell me he caught his lady cheating, like in the act. And I guess whenever, and he wasn't even like on no rah-rah tape, like, okay, you know what I'm saying? And I guess she was so taken back by her being caught, said she just jumped backwards through the glass table and called the police. And made it, you know what I'm saying? And Brother Epic myself was talking about he didn't see the signs. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, even with me, right? Understand ain't nobody perfect. Like, I may see certain signs. As long as I feel like they're not detrimental to me, it's, we all got a faults, defects of character. my init for whatever their collaboration was, I think on New Breed's end, it was he was looking at you know Genghis Khan's influence on social media and bringing those brothers in, him, Mark the Message, those kind of guys to spread awareness about the land initiative. I think that was his, focus, right? The overall objective, right? I think Genghis Khan, seeing that the man was genuine and almost a New York up top style 48 laws of power, as I like to call on here, the Jigga Man spirit, I can use him to get to where I'm going. And then once I get to where I'm going, I'm going to come out with the smear campaign. So I'm going to run a double offensive. I'm going to get to where I'm getting out of New York, and then I'm going to expose him out of nowhere, create this, and then, use the, viewership, monetization, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's no different than, let's say, how Jigga Man and Dame Dash are. And I find my brain has a hard time understanding that. Again, coming from where my brain and my spirit, my consciousness is at. Even if we have a falling out, okay, we don't speak no more. It is what it is. But I have no desire to tear your name up or hinder you in any way. Like Dame Dash is in this kind of bankruptcy kind of situation. And that's detrimental in and of itself. But Jay-Z is making it even harder for him to sell a portion of Rockefeller that he would use to pay off his debts by saying he'll just get it back in 5 years. So now you're trying to stop the man from eating on top of the fluky stuff you done did to the man in the first place, adding insult to injury. So that's what it make me think these people are soulless and they never really had any love, and the love they might have shown was just an outward donning of it. You know what I'm saying? The wolves, inwardly wolves, but outwardly they're in sheep's clothing. You know what I'm saying? And then to be totally honest, unless your spidey sense is super fine-tuned, you're not going to be able to pick that up. Like when I go around people, yeah, my my antennas are up, but I'm not overly looking for one discrepancy to make me cut you off here. Like I can have a homeboy that's hot-headed. He's just my hot-headed homeboy, but I don't initially cut him off. I just don't take him to the company picnic. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, he's hot-headed, but he has a lot of information. He's a good father. He's shown and taught me certain things. You see what I'm saying? So I tend to compartmentalize in that aspect. You know what I'm saying? I'll kick it with him as far as, maybe some insight and wisdom that he has that I don't. But I know he high-headed. I'm just not going to bring him to the company picnic. Because I know he borderline racist. You see what I'm saying? But that's not to knock the man in totality. To me, it's kind of those idiosyncrasies and whatnot that give, a holistic totality view of an individual. You know what I'm saying? But, and then I think, like the word talks about is being betrayed. Like it's going to happen. And I think he allows it to happen. No matter, we go throughout the scriptures, darn near everybody of note that we make sermons about or talking points have been betrayed at some point. And it wasn't, and no matter where they were at on their journey, it still happened. Because I think that's just part of the walk. But at no point in time, like when Jonathan, I forgot what psalm that is, but that's real powerful to me. But he was talking about how, I want to believe it's in the 90s or 60s. I'm sorry, y'all. But he was like, somebody betrayed him. And he was basically like, if the shoe were on the other foot, I would have paced, I'm paraphrasing, I would have paced around my house all night long, wondering about the condition of my friends. But now that it's on me, it seemed like they're throwing a party. You know what I mean? You can't. And then here's my thing. I can be, during my PTSD time, the whoever therapist, whatever you call them people, they said I was hyper vigilant. You know what I'm saying? Because everything to me then was life or death. You know what I'm saying? So if I don't pick up some nuance or some mannerism or some voice inflection or tone, it could be detrimental to me. So I was super on folk. Like you could say, "Hey, how you doing?" or "How you doing?" You see what I'm saying? Like that extra. What you mean? What's up? You know what I mean? Like I would just go straight there. I don't have time to play, cause ain't nothing playing with me. You know what I mean? But I've kind of dialed it back. Because, yeah, we should protect ourselves. Yes, we should be vigilant of the company we keep. But at the same time, I don't want to have my hands so tightly closed to protect whatever's in my hand that I'm not open enough to give and receive if my hand is open. I just try to be knowledgeable of when and how to do that. But at the same time, even with the betrayals I went through, it might have emotionally hurt, but it didn't affect anything. You see what I'm saying? Again, feelings. I've had to cut off, I was thinking about this last night, I had to cut off quite a few homeboys and people along this journey who started out with me one way and became a hindrance or a distraction as I attempted to, as I like to call it, struggle forward. And it seemed like, and then with the help of other YouTube, like, I tried a whole bunch of stuff, but I was banging every day, you know what I'm saying? And then I was sharing with them what I learned in the struggle and whatever, so it could possibly help them. But I think, based on how other brothers on YouTube helped me understand it, that the fact that I kept doing that, the admiration turned into hate and jealousy. You know what I mean? Which don't make no sense in my mind again. But again, from what people have told me, I got a different spirit. So they would say, you know what I mean? So then they started subtly trying to be like overly calling me about nothing or disrupting me when I tell them I'm doing something. I remind them they do it some more. Now you affected my personal boundary. You see what I'm saying? So then I simply and tell you, don't do this. And they do it again. That's it. I've had to do that a handful of times with folk that I never thought in the back of my mind at no point in our friendship that would ever take place. You know what I mean? You eat it. As my man SRBG said, you take a spiritual boo-boo and you keep it moving. I wasn't hurt. It was just disappointing because I generally wanted the best for them. I broke bread with them. I shared information. Like if I post on my community section, I will send that to their inbox. It's helping me. It might help you. You see what I'm saying? Or you say something about a situation. Let's say, I don't know, like your daughter, mother, or I don't know. Like my man DC Mo. I gave him so much, but he just wouldn't do anything with it. He would say, oh, I'm still legally married. You need to get divorced then. Because she's still entitled to any sweet potatoes you would get. You see what I'm saying? So you say, it is what it is. Why don't you let go on your end? You're still holding on to something that you saying is vexing. But you're doing that. That ain't her, that's you. But he never did it. You know what I'm saying? And that, like I said, as I continued on with the keep on, it was very disappointing and disheartening to the people that I had genuine love for that I had to cut off because I choose me to dig. I value me. And I don't let nobody on earth violate my principles or my personal boundaries. And on the flip side of it, nor would I do that to anybody else. And I got a few, showing up homeboy. But if, because I tend to be a good steward of anything that I have, including friendship, like I got a partner, he worked for the MTA now, he just changed jobs. So I'm not going to overly call that man, and I know he at work. Like just chit chat. Now, if it's something serious, I'll text him or I'll send it through inbox. Or he'll get with me later. Like, you know what I'm saying? He'll get around to me. He been doing it. But I wouldn't just, or let's say I'm in a personal situation that's vexing to me. Granted, I know how to hold my own weight emotionally now. And the common link between me and all my partners is we all kind of operate like that. So we understand. But let's say I get hit with something crazy out of nowhere. I'm still not going to bang his line when I know he at work. I might send him a text. Hey, cuz, when you get a chance, holler at me. It's about X, Y, Z. He'll get around to me. I understand he got family and obligations, so on and so forth. Like personal emergency on my end doesn't dictate an emergency on someone else's end. That's why I do believe, in the ability to save yourself. Now, granted, at the same time, we all need help. But I've been so messed over by the help or the people that I have helped that I try not to put myself in a position to do that. But let's be honest, in all honesty, we all need help at some point in time. Like nobody's so super duper alpha or financially what they don't need no help, yo. But granted, in the times that I've needed help, the help manifested itself without me having to ask. And they might not have known, or the situation helped. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm very leery about putting myself in a position of vulnerability because I've been effed over by so many. That's why I don't like nobody in an authority position over me, other than the Most High. You know what I'm saying? I tend to deal with we all men. Like nobody's over top of nobody. We all share information. We all encourage each other. You know what I'm saying? Like we all on the same level playing field, and finance don't have nothing to do with it. And that's what I'm gonna close with, right? And I understand, in Babylon where finance and, hitting financial goals and material, I get all that, right? But if we look at the scripture, other than a few instances, like the apostles, they was all poor. So would we, like, say, if it was a social media age, would I shame, or would Genghis Khan shame, I don't know, Peter because he destitute, or because he's not necessarily socially, financially in a bracket that we would view as success? Again, I go back to MLK. I tend to judge, and I hope we go back to this, right? So that things can be on the right level. Where we judge men, and you should strive to become, financial. You should strive health-wise. You should strive to get new skills and knowledge of things. And like I said, I got an uncle. He knew everything about everything, and he never went to school. He just taught himself stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I was gonna say, where we judge not just men but women, not necessarily financially or the clothes or anything, or any European status symbols, right? Because ultimately that's what it is. When are we going to judge people? By the content of their character. And I've done my fair share of dirt, but I've had people, like, after years come back and tell me, like, yo, Kyle, you remember when you borrowed that money from me? Yo, you the only person that paid me back, and I didn't have to come looking for you. And you did it when you say you was. You see what I'm saying? Or remember that time you cussed me out when you were drunk, and you came back and apologized, yo? And I felt like it was sincere. And then a few months later, like, you just, I don't know, maybe it was his wife's birthday. And in conversation, he told me she liked, I don't know, elephants or something. You know what I'm saying? So I got like an elephant-shaped bottle or something. You know what I mean? You the only person ever did that. You know why I did that? Because of my conscience. And because I cared about, or I was wrong and I need to go make that right. Now, I can't sleep. I know in the word they talk about people not being able to sleep until they do wicked. If I do wrong, even in the slightest way, I can't go to sleep till I go make it right. I gotta go find these people. Not to do nothing to them. Yo, I was wrong for that, bro. And not only was I wrong for that, here's some tangible whatever to make a man. Now, we ain't got to talk no more. But I just want you to know, nah, you ain't deserve that, though, cuz. You know what I'm saying? I've done that everywhere. I think that might be why I've gotten a certain amount of grace, because I've committed some great atrocities upon the earth, especially in my early 20s. Oh, man, boy, I don't even want to talk about it. Boy, who that dude? Lost in the sauce. Lost and turned out. You know what I mean? But they say a true apology is actually changed behavior. And I don't believe Genghis Khan's behavior going to change, so he just got to deal with it. He'll be the proverbial thorn in the proverbial Paul's side, referring to nubreed. I pray with the situations I got going on. It seems like, and of course I don't pray for nothing crazy to happen. I just want them to stop. But they may not stop for a minute. You might as well just get used to it and just deal with it accordingly. Like, just don't talk to them or pay them no mind. When you see them, laugh at them and keep it moving and stay focused on what you're doing. These folk ain't going nowhere. And it keeps you in the state of the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, good times and, comfort and all that. But I wouldn't know the Most High the way I know him had it not been for the betrayal, had it not been for the poverty, had it not been for, messing myself up. And, you know what I'm saying? How's it said in the word? I know he chastised for on good. I think it was David when he said, his goodness has caused me to repentance. I should have been up out the camp. And the fact I got another day, to get it right, or to share some information, or my 2 cents that people say is valid. Even though in my mind, I'm like, yo, ain't nobody feeling me. I got like a little different, unorthodox style about myself. You know what I mean? I guess I'm, peculiar in that manner. You know what I mean? But I guess to just sum it all up and conclude it, Genghis Khan's going to continue to be Genghis Khan. And, I guess nubreed addressed it how he wanted to make a joke out of the man and kind of expose him to some degree. But how much can a man take? You know what I'm saying? Now, he can probably go back to making his content. He said, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like the back and forth all over the place is probably not a good look. But like, I would personally do it. Like I said, periodically, I just mess with the people at the old job. Just to let them know it ain't over with. But again, I didn't wrong them. They're wronging other people, and I'm taking up the cause. That's why I do it. It might be a little different construct, but I don't know. You just never really know how you'll handle something until you handle it. And then experience, like I said, that was a couple videos ago, experience is the best teacher. Like, okay, my experience at the job. Okay, I analyzed that. What did I do well? What could I have done better? What tripped me up, which, like I said in the last video, when I talked about the Most High kind of folding up time and then placing me around people again, I might have got caught up in the witchcraft or validation or, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be, had I not went through a process before I got to them people. And then when I got to them people, because of my process, everything was heir apparent to me. I told the one, I guess she was like a group facilitator. She was like, she had a friendship with the woman who flipped the cards over and whatnot. So she would flirt, not play around people, but I ain't gonna do none of it, right? So I'm like, if you want to get with me, you gotta leave the witchcraft woman alone. She was like, that's my best friend. I said, is that your best friend? You sure about that? Because from me just observing y'all around here, my spidey sense telling me y'all trauma bonded over the fact y'all probably got cheated on by, people in early recovery. As time would have it, she inboxed me out of nowhere and said the girl, the witchcraft woman had just blocked her on social media, because she ended up getting fired for dealing with a client, right? Which I think I told y'all about this, where they start taking all these pictures on Facebook, right? Now, she said she didn't get fired for him. She said she got fired for somebody else. But magically, on the day he get out, you have a chance encounter meeting, and ain't neither one of y'all from this town. But he ended up dealing with the witchcraft woman's other best friend, who's like, the most sought after woman in the recovery world and so on and so forth. So, and I was like, well, I don't want to be the one to say I told you, but I told you. Your friendship wasn't based on anything of substance or root. Y'all trauma bonded over something negative. But when, an opportunity presents itself, as we see in the industry or in your personal lives or in your community, on the job, as soon as an opportunity to maybe get some kudos from someone you esteem, you will line up someone that you say you love. Let's cover our 6. And on that note, I'm about Chad. Ooh, ah!